Welcome to the Event Engine podcast. This is your host, Lee. And on today's show, we have the one and only, it's Rachel Dines from Shake It Up Creative. Rachel, how are you today?
Hi. I am good, thank you. It's good to see that we're almost matching today.
We are as well. I believe you're all the way over in Sussex in England. How's the weather treating you? Because that's what we talk about here in the UK.
Well, it is, isn't it? Well, we had some sun yesterday, which is a rare event. Today it's a bit cloudy.
Excellent. Well, Rachel, from the cloudy land of Sussex, could you just give the folks who may not be aware of who you are a very quick mini bio of who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. So I'm a marketer, a chartered marketer, and I've been in the game, I guess, for more than 20 years. I started in-house in a few different industries. Then I went freelance in the last recession. And that wasn't planned. I wasn't planning to be my own kind of business owner. But I was actually pregnant with my first child at the time. So, it was going to be a kind of a temporary stop. But then I loved it. And I did it for 5-6 years. And then I met a business partner. We went into business, formed the agency. She's now moved on. And it's all mine. And I love the flexibility and working with all the different people I get to work with.
That's fantastic. What a journey. And isn't it funny how businesses so often start when we were not planning it and when we least expect?
Yeah, I know. And often I'm asked, and then the story comes back to me from someone else in a very similar manner. Yeah. It's less common than, more common than we think.
No, exactly. Well, one of your key skills is marketing and social media. And to be honest, a lot of our clients come to us with questions that I am definitely not skilled to answer. I'm not a social media expert. I have social media and I share pictures of what I cook, but I don't think that's really relevant to our wonderful event organizers. So I wonder if you'd mind if I hit you with a few questions that we get asked that maybe you can help us with. And the first one is, how do we select the right platform? Because if I go over to Shake It Up Creative, I notice that you have a great presence across all of the platforms, and there are several. You've even updated your icon to X instead of Twitter, and you've added threads on there. So the regular event organizer looks at all these different platforms and thinks, where the hell do I start?
Yeah, there are a lot, and there's new ones out there as well, which people may not have actually jumped into yet. But I think the thing is, you've really got to look at where your audience is. And I know that's probably said an awful lot, and it does change over time, but really kind of digging deep into the demographics of the platform and trying to work out whether the people that you want to attract are actually using those platforms and hanging out there. We're all aware that Facebook has now kind of grown into an older audience set. And the younger people are all on, TikTok and Snapchat. So it really does matter thinking about who you want to attract, who you want to engage with, but also about what you can do on those platforms. So if you're planning to release a certain type of content in advance of your event, you need to be able to make sure that you can do that. If you want to build a community on that platform for the event, you need to make sure that it can handle that for you. So it's thinking about all of those practical aspects combined with who's spending their time on the platform.
So you would advise against spray and pray, which is putting it out everywhere, and actually finding a specific platform that A, is going to be where your potential audience is, and B, will allow you to do what it is you want to do. So if you're going to show up on TikTok wanting to do written posts, which I believe they're slowly starting to release, I read somewhere, but say back in the day where it was predominantly a video platform, it's going to be difficult. Say showing up in that place, or again, if you're looking to attract an older audience, TikTok might not be the right place.
Yeah, I mean, if you are a very generalized event, say that you were a big Christmas event in London, and you could attract any kind of Christmas fan, as it were, then you might want a bit more of a, as you say, spray and play, it kind of coverage, because you want to attract all different types of people. But for most events, they've got that avatar of who they're trying to attract. You know this from your background. You're looking for agency owners and things, and so they're the ones you want to target, and they're the ones you need to focus on finding out where they're spending their time.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit there's always a temptation for me to just try and spread myself everywhere because I always think I'm going to miss out. But you're totally right.
Mm.
Honing in on that one specific area. And I am depressed that Facebook is now for older people because I quite
Oh, I know. Doesn't that make you sad?
why? My children are not on
Oh.
Facebook, sadly. So, talking then of content, what sort of content could an event organizer put out there in order to attract people to their event? Because very often clients don't really know what to talk about. They might maybe put a picture up of the venue and then not be sure what else to say, and then it'll be crickets for a few weeks. Have you any advice on what sort of things an event organizer could talk about that would build an audience, obviously, but also attract people to actually come?
Yeah, it's really about digging down into the detail again.
Mhm.
So there's lots of things you can do. You can get videos from speakers in advance of the event and get them to talk about what they're going to be saying or what people can learn from them and put those out in video form content.
Yeah.
You can do lots of real snippets of event information. So, okay, we're going to have, I don't know, free donuts or
Yay,
there's
be
going to be
there.
loads of swag or whatever it is that you think might just make people sit up and listen and go, oh, okay, maybe I should check that out.
Yeah.
It's not just about the boring stuff, the where and the when and how long you're going to be there and how you can get there. Yes,
Mm.
that's super important as well. But it's really about attracting people and getting them to engage with the event. And we have to remember that with the laws of marketing, often somebody will see something maybe for the first time and not be sure. You
Mhm.
need to get in front of them again and probably again and again until they're starting to think, oh, actually, I keep seeing this and people are talking about this and maybe I should consider going to it.
No, you're absolutely right. I think one of the things that will tend to put me over the line as well is, like you say, that kind of what am I going to learn? Kind of what is the outcome of the event going to be?
Sure.
And when I see event organizers sharing testimonials and videos of the previous year, which really captures the energy and captures what other people have how other people have been impacted by that event, that's one of
Yeah.
the things that really puts me over the line into, okay, I need to be there. That looks
Yeah.
phenomenal. I want to be in
And
that
for
environment.
the reasons for attending an event are different for different people. I
Mm,
think that what you're going to learn is very important, but for some people, they really, really want good networking and the
yeah.
social side. And maybe putting out a video of the karaoke night that happens at the end of the event or whatever it is, just showing that really fun environment that might just, get someone to click and buy.
Well, especially
Might
for
scare other people off, of course, but you've got to mix
yeah.
it up.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, it might scare other people off. That's for sure. So, I
Yeah.
mean, on that, you mentioned that we need to be the rule of marketing. I think I don't know how many touch points it is, but somebody needs to keep seeing your thing, your event,
Yeah.
your messaging, etc., multiple times before it is they're going to make a decision. So, how far in advance do you think we should start marketing our actual event?
This is always really tough because with free events in particular, if you go out too early and you get people to sign up, a lot of people will just allow that commitment to be bumped and they will either just not show or they will, give away their space to someone else at the last minute and it really affects your numbers. So that's something to be very mindful of if it's particularly free. Um, with a paid event, if it's a big ticket item, I think the earlier the better. And if it's an annual big conference or exhibition and you've got an audience sat in front of you, you want to make them an offer that they can't refuse whilst they're right there and engaged and have just had an amazing time at your event to sign up for the next year in advance. Yeah, sure, put things in like, okay, you can change your mind by this date, or we'll give you a free goodie bag if you sign up by this point, or make it, scarcity. We've only got 100 tickets at this reduced price to give away, but you've got that captive audience right there. So if it is something that repeats and you want them to just keep coming again and again or just tell their friends, then definitely don't miss that opportunity. But yeah, it does depend on the value of the event, the capacity of the event. There's no golden rule to it, but
Mhm.
I think generally the more expensive it is, the more of a commitment it is for people, the earlier you need to start planting that seed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, people are going to want to budget for it, aren't they? They're going to want to prepare.
Yeah.
They want to get the most out of it if it is the more higher ticket event. I know personally for free events when I register for them, I register them as a reminder in my head that, oh, I might go to that. And then very
Right.
often, like you say, it's very easy to bump that in favor of something else that feels more urgent at the time when it comes to, do I really want to go down to London today or tomorrow to that specific event that I've got a free ticket for? As opposed
Brilliant.
to, I've paid a lot of money for this ticket. I am going there come hell or high water.
Yeah, and if you've got to book accommodation and travel, if it's
Yeah,
not local to you, that's also a big thing to consider. So you want to be planning at far in advance.
absolutely. I remember as well, you mentioned about when you have the audience actually in front of you. That's something
Yeah,
that Chris Ducker did. And he did it year on year at the Upreneur Summit. And that was extremely effective, where you had 24 hours at the very end of the event on the last day. He said, look, there's 24 hours here. There's a code. This is the website. If you want to book on and get a guaranteed ticket for next year,
yeah,
then this is it. And the price was something extremely competitive versus what it was going to be the
yeah,
following year, etc. And that
love that.
meant I think I went three years in a row. It worked for me every single time. I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, all right.
Well, this is it. And it's not just about advanced sales, money in
Mm,
the bank. It's
sure.
also the fact that those people have already had a good time.
Hmm.
It's easier to sell to people that you've already sold to rather than
Mm,
find new customers. That is just a rule of sales. But they will start shouting about it in their networks. I'm going, or I had an amazing time, or consider going. You can also go back out to those people and give them a referral offer.
yeah.
You've got this, this pool of people that are just going to do magic things for you.
Well, I think that leads quite nicely then on to the next question. Do you have any kind of strategies or ideas for getting attendees to talk about the events, I guess, in advance and also during the event to get some kind of buzz out there?
Yeah, I think this is twofold. I think as from an event organizer's point of view, you need to be providing things to make that a really, really easy task for people.
Yeah.
So give them a graphic that says, I'm attending X event on this date, will I see you there?
Hmm.
And just send it out to them. All they have to do is share it, give them the hashtags, do half the job for them because then it's more likely to happen.
Yeah.
On the other side, it's if people are proud to be attending that event or there's something that they feel is amazing and of value to people in the network, they will share it and
Mm,
talk about it. You might need to incentivize that a little bit too,
yeah.
but they should be quite happy to say, also come along and benefit because for them, the more people that are there, the bigger and better it is as well.
So do most of the work you can for them, make it really, really
Yeah,
easy, give them the hashtags, even give them example tweets or whatever it is that they need,
yeah,
whatever platform they're on. They will, like you said, naturally share something if they've had
yeah,
been really impacted by an event. And I guess then on the incentivization that you mentioned as well, I remember again going back to say the Upreneur Summit, there was always a competition during the event itself, and it would be if your picture was shown up on the screen as one of your tweets on the specific hashtag that they were doing because they were trying to trend on Twitter for that particular event. I
yeah,
believe there was, I can't remember what the prizes are. Let's pretend it was an iPad. Don't quote me on that, but somebody then won that prize, etc. So
yeah.
I remember trying to think of everything I could possibly do. I never won the prize, sadly, but I was trying to think of every possible picture and post that I could put up there on social media to share what was going on at the event.
Yeah,
That
I
was
love
actually
that.
during it.
I've
Yeah.
been to events too where there's been a big prize for the most posting on the day. That content lives on out there
Yes.
when once the people have gone home. So it is a brilliant idea.
Absolutely. And all of that too is user generated content that you can essentially repurpose, I guess, in the future as well. Hey, look, this was from last year. Didn't they have a great time, etc. You can make tweet walls. I know I'm talking about Twitter right now, which I should be saying X, but it doesn't feel right. Um, and I'm focused here on Twitter because that's my experience of at least of events.
Yeah.
But obviously, these are things that you could do on a wider level.
This is it. And it's really good to actually take people's content. If you're seeing that they've done reels or video clips on their own profiles, save those,
Mm,
build them into a new reel for yourself and use it. It's, kind of
absolutely.
regurgitated, but super effective.
That's true. Now, on incentivization, then, have you any ideas on how we can get sponsors to talk about the event? I mean, they've invested either in sponsoring my conference or they're physically coming to my trade show, and are going to have a booth there. But we do find clients are a little frustrated with their sponsors. Their sponsors have all of these ready-made communities already, that they should be promoting the fact that they're either sponsoring or physically at an event, but sponsors tend not to. Have you any ideas on how we can either educate them or incentivize them about the same?
Yeah, I mean, from personal experience, I think a really good example here is Brighton SEO.
Hmm.
Their sponsors seem to be really, really invested and engaged in the event. And we will, obviously, it's data access. If they've signed up for that, we will get emails from them in
Hmm.
advance and you can book meetings. They'll talk about the games and the prizes that you can win when you
Yeah,
go there. And they're doing all of that activity because they're proud to be associated with that event. They
yeah,
invest thousands and thousands in some of these stands with making it a very interactive place to come and visit once you're there. So why would they not want a busy stand? If they're putting that money into it, then
yeah,
they need to be talking about it and telling people, come along because we've got this, come and see us because
yeah.
you can win these things or sign up for a demo or whatever it is. But I think the way is to make it's got to be a two-way relationship.
Hmm.
You don't just want to be taking the sponsor's money. You want to know, okay, what do you want to get out of this event? How can we help you achieve that and making sure it happens?
So make it an event that they will be proud of, and an event that is focused on not only the attendees and helping them get what they need, the outcomes that they're looking for, but equally what are the sponsors or the people at your trade show? What is it that they want to get out of your event? And then educate and encourage them to share on social media, because again, it's going to be helpful for them, isn't it? If they are telling their existing
Yeah.
audience, hey, you know what, existing clients, etc., you can come and meet us physically at this event. We're going to be showcasing our latest product or whatever that is. I guess there's just
Yeah.
an element of sponsor slash exhibitor education that you can provide without sounding condescending to them, of course.
No, no, no. And as I said before, make it
Yeah.
easy for them as well. Give
Oh yeah.
them graphics that say, I'm sponsoring this event or come
Yeah.
and see us at, help them do the job for
Yes.
them.
Absolutely. And Tim, business partner over here at Event Engine, he shared with me, I'll need to find it. So I'll try and make sure I put it in the tools, folks. But there's this tool that allows you to generate exactly what you just described there, which is a whole load of images. You can input, say, your exhibitor list, and it will put everybody's logos in the right place and their company
Oh,
names. It
wow.
generates all the images for them. And you can essentially send them a social media pack and say, hey, use
Perfect. Yeah.
this. So
Someone
I
thought
don't even
about
know who the
that.
company is, and it's not an affiliate or anything, but I'll make sure I share it because he
Yeah.
was telling me about it the other day.
Sounds good.
Now, one of the things that we've been approached, and I again have no clue because I have wasted so much money on social media, paid social media, that is.
Okay.
I guess the question here then is, why should I choose paid or why should I choose organic? Because I know it's going to be a different answer for each event organizer. But I guess what are the reasons that people go either for paid or for organic?
I think personally, you probably need a combination. I don't think it's an
Okay.
either or situation. It depends. If you've got a big high sign up and you think you're going to fill it quite early on, then you might
Hmm.
not need to put budget into
Sure.
paid. But at the end of the day, if you need to put bums on seats and it's creeping up in day and you need more people to be aware, then you might need to put some budget behind it. But try and be really creative with that
Mm.
content. It's not just about, it's like PR. It's not just saying that something exists.
Yeah.
It's telling a story behind it and making it attractive. So all those things we've talked about in the past, take the same approach with your paid social as well, and show what it's going to be like to be there, or talk about the buzz and the learnings and everything else, and try and make it really, really attractive.
No, that's true. I mean, I remember for the paid campaigns that we did, we were simply telling people the event existed. And
Right.
that was pretty much it. The date, the location. I think I spent £900 eventually through Facebook advertising, and we got absolute crickets. However, if I now look at the social media that I've engaged with that has attracted me and the events that I've then gone to, it's been a completely different story. They, like you were saying, that they've either, they've shown a flavor of the previous year event, or they've told me specifically who the speakers are going to be, or perhaps what someone's going to be talking about, or kind of resonated with a particular problem that I have, and I've then gone ahead and done that. So, hindsight it's great, isn't it? But looking back, I'm kind of embarrassed at the amount of money
Oh,
that that we've thrown at paid ads and gotten nowhere. I also don't like
don't be
LinkedIn, by the
embarrassed.
way.
You know, everything's a journey. Everything's a learning journey. So.
I messed up on LinkedIn. I think I put a digit in the wrong place, and instead of spending 30 quid, I spent 330 quid. That
Oh
was
no.
just on one campaign. I was so gutted. So, but I think what you're saying here, though,
Okay.
is that, I mean, organic, if you've already got an audience, great. But you, regardless, paid is probably going to be helpful, because on the flip side, we thankfully are saving grace for both our organic and all of that money that I spent on paid ads. We thankfully had our retargeting set up, which meant that
Ah,
we were then
brilliant.
able to retarget all of those
Yeah.
people who'd either landed naturally on our site through social media or had gone in through those campaigns. We built
Yeah.
up those pixels, thankfully, through both LinkedIn and through specifically Facebook. I don't think we ever did it on Twitter. And we were then able to put new messages to them, improve on that, and
Yeah.
therefore
Brilliant.
actually get some bums on seats. So I guess there is a happy ending in the end.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, no, retargeting is worth its weight in gold. Definitely try and incorporate that into your campaign list.
Well, I guess the last question is kind of just um, it's a tough question. I never know how to answer this. We've got event organizers who will do multiple events,
Yeah.
and they might do events in, say, let's say 5 different industries, and within each industry they might have 2 or 3 events. So
Okay.
they are now wondering, do they do their social media as the event organizer, or would it be better for them to set up mini social medias, as it were, for each event, or at least for each industry? And they're never really sure which way to go, because obviously they feel like they might be making a lot of work for themselves if they create multiple accounts, but at the same time they worry that if they do it as the event organizer, it's going to be a messy message of all sorts of stuff for different industries going out.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's definitely about making it more specific. I know it's more work, but
Mm-hmm.
it's that time investment that will pay off. If you're targeting, separate groups of people, you can't really do it from the same account, just the one general account.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, without kind of being rude to those event organizers, I don't think that people really care who's organizing the event.
Yeah.
It's about what the event delivers for that person. So it's the name of the event and the speakers of that event, and you need to get personal that way.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm going to list off any event that I've gone to and that I've attended and I've loved, including, say, Brighton SEO, then I don't know who the company is behind it, to be honest. I mean, they might actually
Yeah,
be called Brighton SEO Limited, to be honest, because that's like a whole business in its own right. But like
it's
literally,
not, but that's okay.
but I haven't a clue who organized that. I went to the Gadget Show once. I don't know who organized. Actually, I do know who organized that. I think I went and researched it, but it wasn't obvious to me. It was that the brand is the event, isn't it, as opposed
Yeah.
to the people behind it. And I guess if we think that all of these events are going to have a small team handling the actual event organization, then it's not unreasonable to give the responsibility to a couple of people within that team to look after that social account, as opposed to just laying it all on at the head office, which probably isn't the best
Yeah, and
idea
if you
anyway, because
need
they're not
to,
involved in the day to day.
well, and there's temporary resource available.
Mm.
You can get marketing VAs, you can get
Yes, of course.
freelance
Yeah.
social media managers. There's no reason to not have that resource in some form or another.
Amen. No, that is very good.
I'm really bossy there, don't I?
But no, I like it. I'm enjoying this very much. So as we come into land, I just remember me advertising on social media for my event back in 2019, and I advertised my early bird rate, and I had to commit to a price, but b a cutoff, and I was also worried about that cutoff because I thought if I cut off too soon, then I'd have to start selling it at more to other people, and it might become this ever increasing battle. So it was a real struggle for me when trying to work out what to price my event at, what to give away, what to offer, etc. Do you have any insights into that?
All I would say is a bit of a warning, I suppose, to event organisers that maybe are a bit less experienced. Be very careful with your pricing strategy. If you discount very heavily, very early on, in great numbers, that does become the expectation. It's the same with products. You have people constantly searching for the codes and the discounts. I won't name them, but I used to work for a professional sports team, and we used to have 3,500 night person event capacity, and we wanted it full because it was very dependent on the atmosphere. So a lot of tickets were given away to
Mm.
schools and to other organisations, which is okay, but unfortunately it went too far.
Mm.
And a few years later, the business did fold.
Oh.
And I'm not saying that was the reason, but I think it contributed heavily. There was too much giveaway, too much discount. You know, people weren't paying to come; they were obtaining tickets from one route or another. So just be very careful how you want things to pan out long term, thinking about those discounts that you put in place.
Rachel, thank you so much for all of your insights. This has been a fantastic episode. All that's left to say is first, thank you. And second, what's the best way for people to connect with you? And then we shall say goodbye.
Well, thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed our chats. And as you said, we're on all the socials. So you can find Shake It Up Creative on Instagram and on X and on Facebook and LinkedIn and all of those delightful places. Or you can check out our website, which is just shakeitupcreative.com.
And folks, all of the links to all of those socials will be in the show notes, along with the tool that I mentioned earlier as well. So be sure to check out the show notes. If you're over on YouTube, please leave us a comment with your biggest takeaway. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on your podcast player of choice, then please do come over to the website. There is a link in the show notes, and let us know in the comments again, what was your biggest takeaway from this episode? Rachel, thank you so much. You are a legend. Take care and have a wonderful day. Cheerio.
Bye.